I take my eyes off the docket for a second, and today we already have 26 updates just from today alone. So let's just get right into it. Now, some of them are a nothing burger, but then there's other ones that are a little bit of a bigger deal. Starting with the very bottom one, it's just a motion to seal records, Blake Lively's go-to. Now, the next one we've got is Blake Lively's questions for the jurors. So starting with question 1, we've got, do you have, and let me make sure it's big enough for you guys to see. Here we go. All right, first question is, do you have any ideas or prejudice that would impact your ability to follow my instructions as to the law? Blake Lively following the law, that's rich. Next one, do you have any doubt that you will be able to apply the law as I explain it, even if you disagree with the law, believe it should be different, or have strong personal beliefs that you believe conflict with the law? The third one is, do you have any problem accepting any of the following instructions? A, that is, this is a civil case, not a criminal case. B, that your decision must be based solely on the evidence presented at the trial and my instructions to you concerning the evidence. C, that you consider the quality, not the quantity, of the evidence presented. D, that you cannot consider your personal feelings towards the parties or their counsel in your deliberations, which that one's just very standard when it comes to juror members. Next one is, as I mentioned in this civil case that applies to, oh God, don't make me say that, of the evidence standard, which is a lower standard than the beyond a reasonable doubt standard applied in criminal cases. Do any of you feel that you cannot follow the court's instructions and apply the standard? It seems like Blake is really trying to make sure, like, you guys are going to follow the law, right? You're not going to just go with your feelings on this. You're going to see the evidence, even if it's not a lot. It might just be one page. It might just be Blake saying, hey, he said the word sexy. He retaliated against me. And I know it's untraceable. But you see, there's these bots. Blake is too much. The next one is, do you have any strong feelings about the litigation in general that would make it difficult for you to be a fair and impartial juror in this case? Blake is going to have a really hard time finding juror members. And I already have a feeling at the end of this, if she loses, she's going to blame them. They're the ones that are going to take the heat for this, including Judge Lyman. Heck, she might even blame her lawyers too. Leslie better watch out. Next one, do you have any doubt that you would be able to evaluate each witness's credibility without bias or prejudice? Blake, what do you mean by that? Is it maybe that Blake was asking the question like, what do you mean that's my, like by Blake Lively, are you referring to me, Blake Lively? Next one, do you have any religious or ethical beliefs that prevent you from passing judgment on another person or entity? That is definitely, she's throwing some shade at Justin's beliefs. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. Next one, is there anything about the nature of this case or the facts as I described them that would cause you to be unable to render a fair and impartial verdict? She's got to make sure, just to be clear, you're going to be impartial, you're going to be fair, right? She's too much. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys for jumping in. Next one, number 9. If you are chosen as a juror, is there any reason why you could not be fair and impartial? Blake, come on. All right. Now she has the part B is hardship. So this case is expected to last 3 to 4 weeks. Do you have any vacation plans or any family matters that would conflict with the jury service? Standard question. Do you have any problems with your hearing or vision that would prevent you from giving full attention to all of the evidence in this trial? I guess that could be standard. Are you taking any medication or do you have any? I don't think you can ask that question. Can you? Can you just ask someone? I don't think you can. If they're taking any, maybe you can in this situation. She's asking like, are you taking any medications or do you have any medical conditions that would prevent you from giving your full attention to all of the evidence in the case? I feel like that might fall under HIPAA issues. Maybe not. Do you have any problems at home or at work that might interfere with your ability to concentrate on this case during the trial? Standard question, I think. Do you have any difficulty in reading or understanding English? Do you know of any of the other prospective jurors? I guess that's kind of standard. Next one, I will instruct you that you must absolutely avoid reading about this case or any participants in this case in the newspapers, on the internet, social media. So that's standard. And she's like, would that be difficult to follow? See, I think it's funny that Blake is saying this because she's mainly been the one that's pushing all of these articles out in mainstream media. But, yeah, that would be standard. 17, we've got the questions following that direct your attention to the possible reasons why you might not be able to sit as a fair and impartial juror. Putting that aside for this question, do you have any extraordinary personal hardships that could prevent you from serving on this jury? Again, standard question. So far, not too many of them. I think the religious one is the main one that sticks out the most so far, and medical question. Next, we've got knowledge of trial participants. She said, have you or a family member or close friend ever had to deal with, oh gosh, sorry. I just clicked, sorry guys. Okay, sorry. See, knowledge of the trial participants. Have you or a family member or a close friend ever had any dealings with, or do you personally know the plaintiff, Blake Lively, or anyone who has worked for her? That is rich. But again, standard. Then we've got, have you, a family member or close friend, any dealings with Ryan Reynolds? And then you've got plaintiff is, I feel like that these are the questions that I would want to make sure that on Justin's side is asking the jurors, not Blake, but I get why she is. Now we've got the plaintiff is represented at the trial by, see, now there's all these lawyers here, and I swear I've seen pro-Lively posts where they've been dogging Wayfair for having more than one lawyer. Look at this list. That is all of Blake's attorneys. And I know just from these new filings that there's some more people being added. Hypocrisy. Of course. And then number 21, again, have you, a family member, close friend, know anyone with Wayfair? It ends with this movie or tag. Then we've got same thing going with Justin Baldoni and basically everyone else. So we got Alex, everyone that we got. Oh, look at this. So here's the list of people we've got. Do you know any of the following? Oh my gosh, Kiersey Flaw's on here. That is so funny. Hey. Then, okay, so we've got, Claire, Emily, Justin, Vivian Baker, Katie Case, Isabella Ferrer. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be hard to find. I feel like jurors that are like, yeah, I know this person, but maybe because of the area they might. But other than that, that looks like it's about it for this. Oh my God, the list goes on. So yeah, it's basically anyone that had to do with this lawsuit or this movie. Oh, look, Taylor Swift. See, why are you going to put Taylor Swift on there unless I guess it's strictly just about if you've worked with her or close proximity. Everyone knows Taylor, knows her, Every time I see Betty B, I always think Betty Boop. I don't know why. So she's got her Betty Holdings, Betty Booze, Betty Buzz, Blakel, Columbia Pictures. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have a hard time with that part. Next, we've got the personal jurors' experience and opinions. Do you have any beliefs or feelings about the civil lawsuits or the parties that bring them or defend them that would prevent you from being fair and impartial? Do you have any opinions, and same thing, but about harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? Have you or a family member or a close person been involved in a lawsuit or investigation, including an internal investigation alleging harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? I feel like Blake would purposely try to choose jurors that did have that just because she would think that they'll sympathize with her. That's my guess. Have you or any member of your family or close friends ever been involved in any kind of proceedings involving a dispute between an employee or her employer? Same thing. I think Blake would go for jurors that say yes to this question, just because, again, it would sympathize with her. Same thing. Have you, experienced or observed harassment, discrimination, or retaliation in the workplace? Yeah, I definitely think she's going for like, okay, who's going to sympathize with me here? Next, have you or family member ever filed a complaint with your employer, an agency, or court alleging harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? So it seems like Blake is going to go for people that have had that experience before. And then obviously Justin is probably going to try to avoid those people because, again, that's probably going to be a bias right there. Even though I'm sure, he's going to have his own questions asking similar in a way, just trying to find the people that will be the most fair and impartial. Oh, Blake highlighted this. I love that for her. Do you believe it is too easy or too hard to accuse people of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? So this question is very important to her. So the defendant's position, she said, this question is compound and confusing. Defendants suggest it should be replaced with, do you have a view that because a woman has brought a lawsuit accusing someone of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation, that those claims necessarily lack merit? Now, plaintiff's position, plaintiff's proposal is appropriate. However, the plaintiff also enables to splitting the question into two parts. In turn, defendant's suggestion centers the question on gender in a manner that is inappropriate. Defendant's proposal is to narrow the question to the context of bringing a lawsuit, rather than raising allegations, fails to fully capture the purpose of the question. So what's the purpose of the question? Do you believe it is too easy or too hard to accuse people of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? So Blake is really trying to see, like, okay, are they going to just buy the fact that this is untraceable? Are they going to buy it that, hey, I don't have evidence? Like she said, the quantity is not there, but think of the quality. Well, how are you going to say that her quality is up to par? Because again, it's like, okay, do you know the credibility of these people? You kind of learn it as you're going through the case. Next, we've got, do you have a view that because a person has brought a lawsuit that those claims necessarily have merit? So defendant's position is, this is incomplete. Defendant's proposal is, do you have a view that because a woman has brought a lawsuit accusing someone of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation, those claims necessarily have merit? Now, plaintiff's position is, plaintiff's proposal is appropriate. Defendant's suggestion centers the question on gender in a manner that is inappropriate. I understand they're saying woman just specifically because in this situation it is a woman, but I understand Blake's side. Like, you could just say it in general. Just say a general question. Do you feel a person that has brought the lawsuit accusing someone? I feel like it does the same thing either way. Anyways, next one. Do you believe people have the right to speak up for themselves if they feel wronged? That is such a Blake question. I'm sorry. Blake was like, and be sure to ask this. So, defendant's position, this question should be deleted. It will elicit ambiguous responses because both sides feel wronged. Ms. Lively feels that she was treated wrongfully, and defendants believe that they have been treated wrongfully. Fair. I agree. Plaintiff's position, this question will inform the juror viewers as to raising allegations and pursuant of legal action. Defendants may feel wronged, but they have no claims in this lawsuit and nothing for the juror to consider regarding their own feelings of being wronged. That's not true. That is not true. This whole thing is about retaliation and defamation. He has a lot to actually prove of, like, was he wronged? Was he not? New York Times. Blake is like, I'm the only victim here. 38, we've got, do you have a view that because a person has brought a lawsuit that they should receive some compensation from the parties they have sued? Blake needs her money back. That's probably Ryan threw that question in. 39, we've got, do you have any feelings or opinions about people who have raised complaints in the workplace about harassment or discrimination based on gender or sex or retaliation? And then A, it's, would those feelings make it difficult for you to be a fair and impartial juror? I mean, yeah, I could see she's going to ask that question because she doesn't want, those are the people that she's going to avoid versus Justin. I feel like those are ones where he would be more inclined to take on, but not necessarily, that might be one where he might choose one or two people that said yes to that. Next one. Have you ever had training or education regarding harassment, discrimination, or retaliation in the workplace? I feel like everyone is going to say yes to that. If you've gone through any just general job training, they normally do a thing about that. Next one. Do you have any strong feelings that people should or should not be able to bring lawsuits retaliated to harassment, discrimination, or retaliation? Blake is really trying to make sure, do you guys have any issues with this before we get started? Because she already knows it's not looking so good, especially when you actually get into the nitty gritty of, okay, he said the word sexy, but let's talk about everything Blake did, for instance, like taking over the movie, all of the stress, and just being like, hey, you're not going to be credited on the poster. I don't want you at the premiere. Better yet, you're going to the basement. It's everything builds up to where it's like, it doesn't balance. Justin's side is a lot more wronged. No. Anyways, have you or family member or close friend ever been unfairly targeted, harassed online, or felt harmed in any way by someone posted online? Blake is definitely going to say yes to all of those people that say yes to that. That's going to be her bread and butter right there. But again, at the same time, it's just such a hard one where the content creators, for example, Steve Sarowitz, Blake has not had her house doxxed, okay? Blake is out here doxing people left and right. I would say that would be unfairly targeted. But next one. Have you, a family member or close friend, ever been unfairly accused of targeting, harassing someone online? Now, those people she would avoid. She'd be like, no, you're definitely going to sympathize more with Justin no matter what he says. So I think those people she's going to avoid, and I could see Justin leaning more into those people. Then let's see. We've got, have you, a family member or close friend, ever been personally involved in a lawsuit alleging breach of contract? Yeah, Blake is going to, I think, I don't know if Blake would take those people on or not. I think depending on their answers, she might. Because I don't know if the juror would go into any detail about their situation. 45, do you have any feelings about breach of contract claims that would make it difficult for you to be a fair, impartial juror of this case? Yeah, that would make it where she would probably avoid those ones. Would you have any hesitations or concerns about rendering a verdict for plaintiff Miss Lively if she proves of the evidence that defendants are liable? What I don't understand. She's so concerned that people are like, even if she has evidence that proves her case, that they're for some reason just not going to take her side. And to me, that's like, okay, do you actually have evidence? To me, this is proving that you don't have any evidence, because she continues to reiterate that it's the quality of the evidence, not the quantity. But what is your evidence? Because as of right now, all she's been telling us is that it's an untraceable smear campaign. If you're going to say it's an untraceable smear campaign, that means you don't have any evidence. You're not giving us anything. You are just making a claim. And that's part of what they're disagreeing with. So if they have proof of like, hey, we never went through with anything. You went through all of our files. You went through all of our technology. There's nothing here that proves that we went through with whatever plan that they were working on. You got to move on. But Blake is not going to let that go. I already know, even if she loses, Blake is always going to say that there's always an untraceable smear campaign. She's never going to live that down. But she does have full authorship that Hollywood is now continuing to use that phrase because of her. Thank you, Blake. Now, 47. Would you have any hesitation or concerns about rendering a verdict in favor of any or all defendants against Miss Lively if Miss Lively fails to prove that defendants are liable for the claims brought to her? Maybe those people she would go for, just because she's like, oh, they still kind of want to take my side. They don't want to jump right into Wayfair's side. possibly, but I don't think she would bet all of her money on all of those jurors. Next one we've got. Would you have any hesitations or concerns about awarding Miss Lively money damages if she proves of the evidence that she was harmed? Again, Blake is very worried. She's worried about the quantity of her evidence, and she's worried about the hesitation on awarding her money. So money and quantity of evidence is her main focus right now, which to me says everything you need to. If she's not ready for this case, she's got nothing, in my opinion. Now, defendant's position, they said defendants request that the following question be added for balance. Would you have any hesitations or concerns about rendering a verdict of 0 money damages if Miss Lively does not prove that she was harmed? Fair. I think it could be a double question of, Then plaintiff, of course, she's like, this is sufficiently captured by question 47. If there was no liability, there would be no damages. She's something else. She will never agree with Justin on anything. He could say the sky is blue and she'd be like, no, it's teal. Next one. Do you disagree that if someone is successful, they can still be harassed, discriminated against, retaliated against, or financially harmed as a result? Blake. She's been financially harmed. Blake is, you can't be financially harmed if you are the one that is submitting the lawsuit to sue someone. You are choosing to actively sue someone. I think it's common sense that if you're going to do a lawsuit against someone, it's going to take years. The court system is not fast at all by any means, and it's going to cost a lot of money, especially when you're up against 2 millionaires. Oh, Blake. And I can't deal with her. She's just not going, it's not going to play out for her. She's trying to play like she's the victim and she's been so harmed, but Wayfair alone can be like, she's doxed our addresses. Justin Baldoni had to move because of it. Steve Sarowitz had the arson issue. Let's just pause there. Then you want to throw in the content creators? Blake, give me a break. Now we've got the defendant's position. This question is ambiguous and incomplete as phrased. Defendants believe that this question should be rephrased as follows. Would a person's wealth or success be a relevant factor for you if they brought a lawsuit claiming that they were harassed, discriminated against, retaliated against, or financially harmed? Fair, because that's actually kind of a dig at Blake, because they're like, no, like don't just put successful because that's debatable. Are you successful or just wealthy? Because you're a Nepo baby. Maybe. Next, we've got plaintiff's position. Defendant's counter-proposal improperly centers the inquiry on the bringing the lawsuit. Like, give me a break. Because she's like, the bias regarding any belief that successful individuals cannot be discriminated against, otherwise financially harmed. That's literally what he's asking too. He just added one word to Blake's question and she's disagreeing with it. She's like, no, I won't hear any of it. My question is correct. I asked it the way I wanted to, and that's that. That's literally Blake. The entire set of it ends with us. Now we've got the next one. Would you have any difficulty awarding damages to a person who already has money if you find they have suffered harm? So Blake is so worried about getting her money back, you guys. I'm telling you, this alone just proves Blake is so screwed. Like when this trial comes up, she has no idea what she's in for. Because it's like, obviously, like if they're going to be a juror, they already know, hey, this is a high profile case with millionaires, celebrities. They've been on the sets of movies. Obviously, like, no. Blake is acting like she's Bill Gates over here, being like, hey, if it was Bill Gates saying this question, would you have any difficulty awarding damages to a person that already has money? I don't know that you have a lot of money if you keep asking, are you okay giving me money if I win this thing? I don't think you do. Now, defense position. This question is repetitive and ambiguous. I agree. They're just like, delete it. And he's gone. Plaintiff's position, question 50 allows the court to evaluate jurors' bias against the award of damages. Girl, you are asking this over and over again. If I'm proven right, will you give me money? Will you award me money? I just want to make sure. Will you avoid? Because, yeah, if they say no, she's automatically going to be like, you're booted. Next one. All right. Would your judgment or ability to state your views be affected if you found yourself in the minority at the time the jury begins its deliberations? Oh, my God. This is such a tell. Blake is already saying that she believes that the jury is not going to believe her. That question alone, because why would you ask that question? Hey, would your judgment or ability to state your beliefs be effective if you found yourself as the minority? Because she already knows that the pro-Lively crowd is in the minority. And no, that's not because some smear campaign. That's not because they're bots. It's genuinely because this woman has gone the entire time stealing all of her evidence. Then the New York Times article, it's like, we went through thousands of documents. Come to find out, it was all cherry-picked. They did not go through thousands of documents within a day. No. Now we've got, would you change your vote to reach a unanimous decision, even if your vote did not reflect how you felt about the verdict? Blake is like, are you going to be peer pressured into not believing me? Next one. Is there a disagreement if there is a disagreement among jurors during the deliberations, would you want to resolve the agreement based on what you think is fair instead of what the law says? I feel like Blake really does believe that the law is on her side and she's just guaranteed to win this even if she doesn't have the evidence. But that is not how this works. Like, you can have an expert come in and use AI to say that there's a smear campaign, but for one, it's AI and it is not accurate whatsoever. And two, there's no smear campaign. But anyways, other questions. So, 54. This case may receive attention outside the courtroom. It already has, including from press and on social media. Do you have any concerns that press or social media attention might affect your ability to serve as a jury in this case, or speak openly and candidly during your jury deliberations? That's a fair question. Next one. Would you have any hesitations or concerns about entering a verdict for or against any of the parties, knowing that this case may be reported on in press or social media? I mean, I guess you could have. She's asking the same thing already in the first question, but whatever. Next one. Would you find it difficult to enter a verdict for or against any party because they are a celebrity? Blake is just... she is pulling a Taylor Swift here. She is already like, I'm going to be the victim of the jury. I'm telling you, she's going to blame the jury. Next one. Would you find it at all difficult to refrain from Googling or otherwise researching the case, the book, the movie, or people and events related to the case until after the verdict? See, Blake, this is what makes me mad about Blake asking this question, because Blake is the one that has been pushing the PR in mainstream media left and right this entire time. I mean, the New York Times article. She's the one that started that. So why are you going to be like, are you going to find it difficult? Yeah, because of you. Blake makes me so mad. She just acts like she never does anything wrong. Just like, makes me want to pull my hair up. Okay, I'm sorry. Is there any matter that you would like to discuss privately that bears on your ability to serve as a jury in this case? I mean, I guess that's a standard question. Next one. Apart from any prior question, do you have the slightest doubt in your mind for any reason whatsoever that you will be able to serve on the jury in the case, to do so fairly, impartially, and to render a true, just verdict without fear, favor, sympathy, bias, or prejudice, and according to the law as it will be explained to you? Oh, Blake, that's a mouthful. But I mean, standard question, but she's got to ask over and over again. So then this is basically the form that people are going to have to sign. Where were you born? Number of years living, current address. I've never served on the jury, so I could not tell you. I feel like this might be a standard sheet. If any of you know, let me know. Now, next one. So, we just had a sealing. Yeah, I showed you guys that earlier. Sorry. All right, next. Let me zoom in for you guys. Okay. So, Judge Lyman, the remaining Wayfair parties respectfully submit this letter to raise further concerns about the voluminous overbreadth of Lively's witness and exhibit lists. How many people? What is she doing? Okay, so when on March 25th, when Lively was listing in excess 40 trial witness and nearly 1,000 exhibits. Okay. Then they had April 2nd was the conference to address the issue. Hours before that conference, the court issued the ruling pending the claims the 13-3. Under the circumstances, counsel for Wayfair stated at the conference that rather than pressing the issue at the time, they would further meet and confer with Lively's counsel to see if any further narrowing could be achieved. Unfortunately, no narrowing has occurred. Even with only 3 remaining claims, Lively still lists more than 40, oh my gosh, and more than 800 exhibits, now accompanied by hundreds of affiliated attachments, far more than can fit within an estimated 15-day trial. Oh, Lord, Blake. Blake is trying to do the flood the gate method with the juror, and that's just not how this works. Like, you can tell them, I don't know, Blake is, maybe that's why she was asking, hey, are you going to be able to pay attention to all of this, because we know Blake's rants. Oh no, I feel bad for the jury on this one. Yeah, anyways, notwithstanding repeated requests, Lively has refused to identify which attachments she actually intends to present at trial. See, Blake is trying to be like, well, if I don't have the evidence, then I'll just not give you guys a heads up, but that's not how this works. Like, this isn't a movie where you get to have some surprise gotcha. You have to submit this and have it approved before the trial. Oh, Blake. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys for coming in. Next, we've got, they said, to give the court a flavor of what's been happening. I love that. Lively identified 68 new exhibits for the first time just after midnight and provided reviewable copies of those documents at approximately 3:40 in the morning. This morning, as in today. Oh, she is crazy. She's truly out of her mind. But I don't know who's more out of their mind, Blake or the lawyers just going along with this. Oh, they're just getting their money. At the end of the day, the lawyers get money, so they're just like, we'll do what we need to and get her out of our hair. Now we've got, there is no reason these exhibits could not have been identified earlier. Completely agree. Defense counsel are obviously in no position and should not have to review so many new materials at the last minute, especially on a day when they are consumed with numerous other tasks, including finalization of the draft jury instructions and all these other things. Now, when Lively's counsel advised yesterday that Lively would be identifying dozens of new exhibits, they initially refused to agree to an extension of time for defense counsel to note objections to those exhibits. After the call, they have offered the Wayfair parties a 2-day period to review them. Oh, how kind. They give them 2 days. Oh, Blake, see, this is what Blake makes me so mad, because could you imagine if they did this, Blake would throw a fit. It wouldn't just be Blake files something to Judge Lyman. No, she would submit things to the mainstream media and they would say, Justin Baldoni only offered 2-day period for her to review documents. He's horrible. That's what they would do. Anyways, but only if the Wayfair parties agreed Lively did not have to identify her new exhibits until next week. See, I'm telling you guys, Blake is not ready for this trial. These exhibits here are just screaming, Blake is not ready. She is not ready, and she needs, I think she's past the point of being able to settle, so we just got to go and we got to go for it. She's about to belly flop this lawsuit. All right. When the Wayfair parties objected to this one-sided proposal, Lively produced the exhibits at the last possible minute. Yeah. The new exhibits include additional video exhibits without specification of the portions Lively intends to use. Oh my God. Blake is probably being like, here's a 2-hour video. I'm not going to tell you what part I'm going to use. And she's probably going to use like a 7-second clip in there. That's how she rolls. Others are summary exhibits, one of which is a 45-page long. Oh my gosh, Blake. And they gave him 2 days to go through over 800 documents. No, you've got out of your mind. Even with a team, that's definitely impossible. I'm sorry. Unless you have the entire building being like, everyone, you're taking a page. Let's go. Now, even a brief glance at some of their content suggests little discrimination in terms of what might actually be admissible at trial. They include, for example, a speech Lively made about her husband, Ryan Reynolds, commitment to his family, and pictures of Lively with Taylor Swift. What? Blake? Why does Blake? Yeah, Blake. Guys, just remember, I'm friends with Taylor Swift. Okay. Remember the Eras tour? You love that. Remember when we used to take photos together? Don't you want that for us again? This is Taylor Swift. She's the godmother of my children. I love that it was all Taylor's, I don't want to be involved in this lawsuit. And then here Lively is, I want to show pictures of us together at the case. Didn't Taylor just put out a statement that she wants this wrapped up before her wedding? All right. So Lively also provided additional materials this morning, which her counsel explained after inquiry are intended to be revisions or additional components of previously identified exhibits. Oh, brother. These too appear to be of limited relevance of practical value. For instance, they include an article about Taylor Swift's cookie recipe. Okay, so that's what that comment was about. I was so confused at first. David wrote, came for the Taylor Swift recipe. I was so confused until now. I'm with you now, David. Sorry. So, an article about Taylor Swift's cookie recipe that was linked in other correspondence. It is, I can't even talk right now. I'm so flabbergasted that why are we putting a recipe? Judge Lyman, I literally told him one of the reasons for me saying, hey, you need to sanction Blake was because of things like this. Blake is wasting court resources by, let's include an article about Taylor Swift's cookie recipe. And no, I don't think it's bad faith at all. Give me a break. It is, I can't even talk right now. I'm sorry. Unlikely Lively would show such materials. Yeah, I doubt it. Or that the jury would gain any insight from them. Maybe that she's friends with her and that maybe Taylor taught her the recipe. I don't know. Maybe that's what they did after the meeting where Ryan scolded Justin for hours on end. And, oh gosh. Anyways, counsel for Wayfair parties understand that the witness and exhibits list tend to err on the side of being over-inclusive as counsel are still making final determinations for trial. But there is a difference between the over-inclusive list that nevertheless remain within practical perimeters and lists so overly broad as to fluster the other side. Yeah, that's what she's trying to do. But I already know Judge Lyman is going to go, no, Blake would never do that. This does not prove it at all. She would never do that. That's my Jennifer Coolidge voice. Not really, but kind of. Now, the Wayfair parties should be permitted to prepare their defense in an orderly way without having a slog through huge amounts of materials without a last-minute additions, which I agree. They don't need to be dealing with this. If they did this to Blake Lively, Judge Lyman would just throw everything out. They'd be like, no, if you haven't figured it out, be gone. But we know how he favors Blake. Anyways, except for that one time, which, thank goodness. Now, let's see what we got. Foregoing reasons, the remaining Wayfair parties respectfully request an order that, one, grants the Wayfair parties an additional week to note the objections to the 68 exhibits Lively identified only this morning, and to prepare additional motions in according to that. Which, oh my gosh, it's like they're going to keep pushing. Blake is trying to push this further and further, but it's like if you have to keep pushing this because you don't have evidence and we're over a year into this, that's on you. You should have settled. Number 2, directs Lively to narrow her witness list as to between primary and rebuttal witnesses, and to eliminate those witnesses she does not intend to call at trial. Fair. And 3, direct Lively to narrow her exhibits list to the number of exhibits reasonably suited for trial. Now, will Lyman do this? Probably not. But it's good to know. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be like, you know what? I don't want, like, you are wasting my time, girl. I just don't see it. He's a hot mess. But let me know what you guys think. Now we've got... Okay, so they submitted declarations in support of Miss Lively's motion to exclude the opinions. Of course. Here we go, Blake. I knew majority of these would be Blake. You just know. All right, so Blake Lively has a motion to exclude the opinions and testimony of James Haggerty, which was the expert for the smear campaign retaliation on Wayfair side. Oh my gosh, of course. Should have known. We got the black box of doom. Sealing. Did she learn nothing from the great unsealing? What is this? Oh Lord. All right, anyways. So, introduction. He's the crisis communications, and he's explaining how the jury should perceive them. But Mr. Haggert's perception of how the crisis industry operates in standard scenarios is irrelevant to this case, where Ms. Lively alleges that the defendants used the media to retaliate against her for raising concerns of a hostile work environment on the set of It Ends With Us. For this reason, and those stated hereon, his opinions and testimony should be excluded. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say, this is so rich of Blake to say something like this because, okay, she's saying they used the media to retaliate against her for raising concerns about a hostile work environment. What did Blake Lively do to content creators? She used the media to retaliate against us for raising concerns about a public court case against public figures. She was upset that we were upset with the premiere of a movie because we're the audience. So God forbid we have an opinion. But that's what I'm saying. She is going to belly flop so hard because when she says something, they can counter it like this entire time. Every accusation from Blake Lively is I'm losing my words, but you know what I mean. She's telling on herself. I'm like, oh, Blake's got me so flustered. I can't believe her. Now, Haggert's opinions. He advanced 6 opinions regarding the retention, perception, and function of crisis communication managers. Then a summary of the 2 case documents, criticism of charts, and Miss Lively's second amended complaint. Then we've got opinion 1. So he stated that hiring of a crisis communications consultant in the face of perceived reputational threats should not be considered in any way evidence of a negative or nefarious intent, which I agree. That's the entire purpose of the PR industry. Anyways, he said by the client and is instead entirely acceptable, appropriate, and prudent for those that are seeking mitigant reputation risk. Now, of course, Blake Lively, there's a quote and Blake just has to redact it. And we know there's nothing that's going to be like, oh my gosh, Blake is totally right here. This is for the drama. Blake is too much. So Blake doesn't like that, which that's PR for you. I don't even understand, but we had to explain words to Blake in that one document. So this shouldn't come as a surprise. Now, opinion 2 that she disagrees with He claims that a misunderstanding of the role of a crisis communications manager often feeds negative perceptions. Yeah, I think Tree Payne could say that very well. He bases this opinion primarily on unspecified experience and his assessment of blank. Like, she literally had to redact the case that he's talking about. This is so stupid. If Judge Lyman is going to continue to let her seal all of this, that's on him. That's his circus. But the whole, Blake makes me so mad. Like, I can't deal with her. Anyways, opinion 3. So the media monitoring is a standard practice in public relations and crisis communications and should not be seen as an effort at social media manipulation. Yeah, literally, Blake Lively herself had a chart on her likability from social media. Like, that's literally her being like, do people like me? Let me just keep tabs. Okay, how am I looking on social media? TikTok, are we good? Taylor Swift does it too. Taylor Swift herself has said that she closely monitors her fan base online to see what they are wanting from her. Oh my God. That's on top of it. Let me just say, this is Ryan's entire business practice. Is he tries to, like, whenever he's doing his ads, his whole fast advertisement is about any trending topic. That's why he did the whole Goop advertisement about the CEO that cheated at the concert. That was the whole point of that. Is that social? Is that manipulation? Are they feeding negative perceptions about the CEOs that cheated? At this, you know what? You're starting to make me wish that they did sue Ryan for that. But I won't go there. I'm still into freedom of speech, no matter if I don't like you. But oh my gosh. Now, Hager, the next one is, the media monitoring is standard practice in public relations and crisis communications and should not be seen as an effort for social media manipulation. We read that one. I apologize. Next one. So that the scope of work and scenario planning documents prepared by TAG for Wayfair defendants are in keeping with standard crisis communication planning. He does not offer any opinion on whether carrying out these documents, as Ms. Lively alleges, occurred here. Yeah, because that wasn't his job. He was just, oh my gosh, Blake. Okay. So, yeah, that wasn't his job to do. And his experience that he mentioned was his work experience that he physically did himself. And he did mention his line of work. Blake is just, maybe that's why she talks so much, because everything people say is just in one ear and out the other. Now we've got number 5. He relies on depictions in the second amended complaint reflecting negative coverage of Miss Lively to conclude that the depicted growth in media and social media coverage negative to Miss Lively. Redacted. She's such a drama queen. Like, these now just irritate me so much because of all the time. The Great Unsealing proved that majority of all the sealings was such a nothing burger. It doesn't help her in any way. Majority, they'd be like, I don't even say that they would hurt her necessarily, the ones that she sealed. It's just something where, like this, instead of opinion 5, he based on his blank and blank. So this is probably saying his work experience and whatever. Oh, here come the boxes. This is where I know the CIA guy's coming in handy. All right, so he concludes that he found Lively's statement or sediment graphs blank. He didn't agree. Let's just say that. He didn't agree with Blake. Her graphs are an AI just mush. And on top of it, it's just, why was she trying to compare herself to Taylor Swift? Okay, just there's so much wrong with that whole graph. Anyways, the legal standard: a witness who is qualified as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education may testify. He's literally an expert. He's literally an expert, and she's trying to argue this right now. She is something else. So Blake doesn't have evidence. So what she's trying to do now is, well, we need to get rid of Brian Friedman because he's a problem. He's obviously going to be able to pick up on all of this very quickly of every accusation is a confession. So if she accuses you of something, all you have to do is counter it with what she's done because she's literally done it. Oh, you want to talk about digital violence? Blake, let's bring up Steve Sarowitz. Want to talk about that? And you know how none of mainstream media is like ever being like, oh my God, Blake Lively caused this horrible incident. No, not going to talk about that. Anyways. So yeah, she's trying to get rid of this expert too, because anyone that disagrees with Blake is obviously paid and wrong in every possible way. From Blake, that's what she thinks. All right, so I love it. The objective of the gatekeeping requirement is to ensure the reliability and relevance of expert testimony. It is to make certain that an expert, whether basing testimony upon professional studies or personal experience, employs in the courtroom the same level of intellectual rigor that characterizes the practice of an expert in the relevant field. Oh, Blake. So she's just like, she's so ridiculous. I can't deal with Blake. I'm so sorry for the jury. It's like I almost need to come out with like a public apology for her. I'm sorry that you're going to have to deal with her. And you are going to have a headache. Not just a headache, a migraine every time you have to deal with Blake's side. Now, probably not with Justin's side. Maybe you'll cry, but that's about it. Okay, now we've got the argument. All of Haggard's opinions must be excluded as irrelevant. Okay, why? His opinions on standard industry practice are irrelevant because Lively alleges, you can't make this up, because Lively alleges retaliatory conduct. Okay, so an expert's opinion on the standard industry practice is irrelevant because Blake said that she was retaliated against. So it doesn't matter what he said. It doesn't matter if he's an expert. She said it happened, so it happened. Okay. The jury needs to get this through their head. She's not going to have the quantity of evidence. You just need to take her side. It's her word against his. That's what she's wanting this to be. It doesn't matter if he has all this evidence. Don't listen to her trying to take the movie. Don't listen to the premiere and her sending it to the basement. Yeah. Just like, oh my goodness, people. Yes, I totally agree. Terry said, you know what's sad? Her and Ryan will never see their faults. They really won't. I mean, they just, no matter what, they are the ones that are in the right in this situation. And no matter how this case goes, that's what they're going to think. So there's no changing their mind. Same thing with anyone that's already committed to a side. I feel like there's no changing their mind. Yeah, and she did dox Justin twice, yes. This one's, I honestly would love to have this go to trial. I doubt at any point they'd make it to trial. Yeah. At this point, I think they're going to go to trial, but I think it's definitely going to be a belly flop for Blake. Hey, everyone. We've got justice for Justin, fake Lively. Yeah, literally. And Lion Ryan. Yeah, they're in for it. Now, I don't think Ryan is going to testify. I think they're going to keep him lips sealed because could you imagine those texts? Just the texts we've seen of Ryan's and of Blake and Taylor's. Oh, Ryan and Blake's text together would be chef's kiss. Now, this is so funny. Okay, so now the opinions 1 through 3 address standard PR industry practices regarding the retention of crisis professionals, perceptions regarding their function and how they operate. And similar with opinion 4, she says none of these opinions sufficiently relate to the case at hand. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Oh my God. It's almost embarrassing having to be her lawyer. Actually, no, it is embarrassing being her lawyer because you just had to say, you typed up in a document that this expert has no bearing whatsoever because Blake said so. That's what you're getting at is Blake said this happened, so it happened. And he doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't meet the same. It doesn't even have anything to do with this case. It's the same thing with Blake saying that Justin has no right to discuss whether or not he was wronged, because that has nothing to do with this case. Blake is the one that has the problem. Blake is the victim. Let's just remember that. But more, Blake needs to remember she's the victim of herself and Ryan. Maybe Leslie too. I'll even throw in Stephanie Jones just for extra credit. Now, they said at best, Haggart's opinions. I really hope his name is Haggard. I'm thinking Harry Potter. It's probably not. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry. Opinions are irrelevant background. She's just like, this expert doesn't meet the qualifications that Blake Lively has determined to be sufficient for him to be considered an expert. That's what Blake is basically saying. So she says, at worst, they encroach upon the role of the jury by offering legal conclusion that defendants did not engage in retaliation. So an expert from their side proves, hey, this is not engaging in retaliation. This does not fall under that category. She goes, he did not agree with me. Therefore, he cannot be involved. Oh, gosh. Blake is so... Now, his instructions on how the jurors should regard evidence is improper. Let's hear why, Blake. So it includes a mandate that the jury should not regard the retention of a crisis professional as reflecting negative intent, nor regard media monitoring as an effort at social manipulation. Yeah. Oh, Blake, this is so sad. And honestly, this is embarrassing. I am actually embarrassed for you, Blake, and Ezra, all of the lawyers. I'm embarrassed for you. So you are saying that, so this expert literally says that when you retain a crisis professional, because, hey, you obviously are saying, Blake Lively said, hey, you're not allowed to be at the premiere. And if you come to the premiere, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to throw a fit. Then, okay, you can come to the premiere, but you're going sent to the basement. On top of it, just weeks before, I did a whole thing about June. The month of June, Blake every single day was doing something different, causing complete havoc and stress to Justin Baldoni. Then for her to be like, obviously he's going to hire a crisis professional, because she continued to ramp up more and more and more. She literally showed the film without permission. She's like, hey, I don't want you on the poster at all. Better yet, get your name off there too. Then you don't need to be seen at the press. I know it's your movie. Get out. You got to go to the basement. Yeah, obviously he's going to hire a crisis professional, because at that point you are acting crazy. He needs to cover himself. That's a no-brainer. Okay, it's the same reason why Taylor Swift, every single time there's a legal document or any new filing coming up, Taylor Swift, you see her out with someone. Whether it's she's out with Travis, she's out with one of her friends, she's out and about. That way there's PR pictures of her. Oh my gosh, did you see Taylor went to this bar or went to this restaurant? Then no one's talking about, hey, Taylor just got name dropped in this lawsuit because Blake wants to bring up her cookie recipe. Really? Yeah, I will die on that hill that Blake and Taylor are still friends. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now we've got, and then on top of it, okay, media monitoring. This irritates me so much. Media monitoring. Monitoring just means watching. That's it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that it's not media manipulating. It's media monitoring. But when this happens, I really want Brian Friedman, whoever is going to oppose this order, to please bring up Blake's deposition where she asked the question when they said, okay, do you understand when we reference Blake Lively that we're talking about you? And she asked, who do you mean when you say Blake Lively? You. And then she's like, well, what do you mean by when you say you? These are legitimate questions that she said in her deposition. She was acting like she had no idea. Oh my gosh. I feel like people don't understand what the definition of a smear campaign is. A smear campaign, for pro-lively people confused, a smear campaign is like for instance, with narcissists, the flying monkeys, for example, where a smear campaign is you are spreading false information that you knowingly know is false information, but you're spreading it to cause harm. That is the smear campaign. Then smear campaign, people are dogpiling on to add in or, fan the fire. That's not what's happening, okay? People agreeing online, but not agreeing in the way Blake wants them to, is a smear campaign. Now, she says, when an expert undertakes to tell the jury what result to reach, this does not aid the jury in making a decision, but rather attempts to substitute the expert's judgment for the jury's. Oh my God. He's literally not even doing that. He's just telling you, hey, this part is standard practice. See, Blake argues all of this of like, oh, it's just media. It's not media monitoring. It's media manipulation. Okay, what is New York Times? New York Times is literally media manipulation to the utmost degree. Not only that, but it's defamation and it's a smear campaign. She was actively having New York Times post cherry-picked, twisted, false information so that way everyone reads that article and is like, oh my gosh, Justin is a horrible person. That is a smear campaign. That's the part that the pro-lively people are not getting. Now we've got expert testimony is limited to the occasions where the subject matter of the testimony is beyond the ken of the average juror. So expert testimony that seeks to address lay matters which a jury is capable of understanding without the expert's help is not relevant and therefore not admissible. See, now Blake wants to play cute and be like, see, no, we know. Like, that's standard practice, we know. But at the same time, trying to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about and that this has nothing to do with the case. But it does, because the whole point is the argument, one of the only standing filings or claims is retaliation. And the whole essence of this trial is, was there a smear campaign or was there not? That's what this lawsuit is about. It's not about, oh, was there harassment? No, she already got that booted. And on top of it, Blake hasn't focused on it nearly at all this entire lawsuit. Blake is just, oh my gosh. She goes on to say that none of his opinions address anything but lay matters that a jury could understand without his assistance. Not really. I mean, he's having to address you because Blake does not understand. Oh gosh. And then her, these are so stupid. There's no reason for her to steal any of this, but she is. Oh gosh. Or redacted, I mean. Now, she goes on to say the opinions 5 and 6 are also irrelevant because they address information that has been superseded by the evidence in this case. Expert opinions must be relevant to the facts or issues that remain disputed at the trial, or remain in dispute at the trial. Testimony that addresses allegations that have been superseded by the evidence in this case are not relevant and do not assist the tier of fact. Oh my gosh. The charts that he analyzes in opinion 5 and 6 reflect negative media coverage of Lively in the aftermath of Wayfair defendants' retaliatory media campaign. Oh my gosh. That's the thing. That's what we're arguing. She keeps trying to claim this as fact and say it as this is a matter of fact, but it's not. It's not a matter of fact. That's what you're going into this arguing. Oh no. So she goes on, given that this sentiment charts have at this point been mooted by evidence that will actually be presented at trial, his observations to these sentiment charts are irrelevant and unnecessary. Oh, Blake. Oh, he's unqualified to render opinions now. She claims he's unqualified regarding digital media and data, and they should accordingly be excluded. So she's saying that the court must address if a witness is qualified as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education. Here she goes again. It's the same thing with Brian Friedman, why she's like, we need to get him out because he's going to get me if not. Okay, what else we got? Okay, so he conceded that lack of data expertise in a death knell of opinion 6, while such an opinion clearly requires expertise with data. I mean, yes and no. Like, oh God. All right, so he said that all of his opinions must be excluded as unreliable because Blake said so. So she says that he touts 3 decades of experience in crisis communications industry as the primary, in some cases, exclusive basis for each of his opinions. But because he is relying solely on primarily on experience for his opinions, he must explain how the experience leads to the conclusion reached, why the experience is sufficient basis for the opinion, and how that experience is reliable applied to the facts. Oh my God, Blake. Like, they would explain that in trial. Like, if you asked a question, like, follow up being like, how did you come to that conclusion? He would explain it. Oh my gosh. Blake basically wants the trial to happen now so she can get a heads up of how hard she's going to belly flop. It's going to feel like cement, Blake. Now, they go on that this court routinely excludes expert testimony that amounts to little more than asking the tier of fact. Oh my gosh. So his opinions warrant exclusion for this reason, rather than closely tying his expertise to the opinions throughout this deposition. She said that he made only hopelessly vague, sealed, redacted, even when pressed at length. Redacted. So right here, I know ex-patriarch, he's going to look. He made hopeless vague on blank. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. We've seen her redactions. They're a nothing burger. They never help her. They're just for show. Okay. And then we've got Miss Lively's theory of liability, corroborated by the record, addresses defendant's extensive execution of the retaliatory crisis plan far beyond retention and simple monitoring work. Oh my gosh. So she's going off of the quote, Wayfair would like to move forward ASAP with social digital mitigation and remediation. But they literally said they didn't have to. And there's even text stating, oh, look, we didn't even have to do it because people were already upset. Then she's also trying to use the quote from Wayfair, quote, we flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. Oh, wait. Like, he literally said in his deposition that he didn't do anything except for monitoring. Like, at this point, Justin needs to be mad because he's like, I hired you to do something and then you lied to me that you could do it and you really couldn't do it. Okay. Now, permitting his testimony on standard retention, planning, and monitoring conduct in the crisis industry fails to capture the core of defendant's alleged retaliatory conduct. Oh my God. Like, just because someone doesn't agree with you does not mean they're wrong. Like, my goodness. But she goes on to say that such a testimony could lead the jury to the misleading conclusion that his opinions address all the alleged retaliatory conduct. Yeah, Blake is basically saying, hey, he's going to let the jury in that I'm totally full of shit right now. So let's just not do that. He needs to explain himself. Like, what does Blake want? She wants people to write a whole book about this is why I came to this conclusion. Don't worry, Blake. I'm working on it. Oh, my goodness, Blake. So we've got the extension. We've got that. Okay, some of these are sealed. Of course, she Blake, look at all these ceilings. Sealed. Always from Blake. A letter of motion to seal portions of her motion. And then, motion again. She's just so nuts. Now this is a motion in support. Yeah, so it's basically her just saying, hey, I agree with Blake. Let's make it happen. I don't know why lawyers have to do that. If someone could explain that, that'd be great. Okay, now we've got, good. Blake wants even more people to be excluded. So Blake would also like to exclude the testimony of Nicole Alexander. She said, listen, anyone Justin wants to bring that could help his case, you can't come. You're not invited. All right, so we've got, she respectfully moves to exclude the testimony of Nicole Alexander, whom defendants plan to offer as an expert witness to rebut the opinions of Dr. Ashley Humphreys and Diana Maslin regarding defendants' manipulation of online commentary about Miss Lively and the reputational harm she suffered as a result. Okay. Who are these people? Sorry, I'm going to look this up. Who is Diana? Diana. Oh, goodness. Blake, what are we doing here? She's a professor. Okay. So oh my God, Blake. So Blake is trying to say that the experts that Justin has, not an expert, they have no say, but a random professor that she picked that discusses stuff about social media management and manipulation. We're going to, oh my gosh, Blake. Who's Dr. Ashley? Let's see. All right. Another professor. Oh my gosh. She's a oh my gosh. Okay. So you're going to go for a sociologist. Like, so a crisis communications expert has no say, but random professors from universities, those are the experts. Got it. All right. Oh my gosh. So Blake just found, I tell you, Blake probably just found their social media and saw that they liked a post that was Team Blake. And we're like, I need you. That's what I think happened. Oh my gosh, Blake. So the testimony requires exclusion of multiple independently fatal reasons. Fatal reasons. We got to add the drama. She intends to, oh, here we go. So Blake redacts all this. This is so, we already know. The redactions mean nothing. So in an effort to rebut the opinions of the doctor, Maslin, who concluded that defendants' strategic manipulation of online conversations caused the marked negative shift in online sentiment towards Miss Lively and her brands. Okay. Here's the problem. Okay, so let's just put a hypothetical scenario out there. Let's pretend like, okay, so everyone is upset about the premiere, right? We're like, why is Blake answering that way? She's seeming really odd. Where's Justin Baldoni? Just all of her responses just coming off very crass. Then, hey, everyone. Then you've got people being like, hey, let's look at some of the other interviews from the press and realizing like this girl has been ruthless the entire time about this movie. Does she even want to be in a DV movie? Does she even want to support DV victims? Like, that's just, so people are talking about that. Okay. So like we saw that it's organic conversation people are having. It's just like, I'm just throwing Joja Siwa because she's someone that notoriously has been like crapped on her entire career. Like people always talk about her online. She takes it on the chin and moves on, or she uses it to her advantage for she almost does her own version of like Ryan's fast advertising, but for her brand. So, okay, everyone's organically talking about this, having conversation. So let's just say hypothetically that, okay, so Blake is trying to claim that they boosted videos that were talking about this. Okay, you boosted a video. Who, like, that's still not a smear campaign, because at the end of the day, Blake is still the one that's going to the mainstream media, going to reporters, going to journalists and being like, hey, this is the story I want you to put out. This is what you need to say. And then whether they do it or not. That's media manipulation. That's a smear campaign versus you boosting a video or like you're boosting something that people are already talking about is essentially the same thing as engaging with content. Because if you like a video, if you comment on a video, share a video, all of that, any button you press on a video boosts the video naturally. So that's kind of, and same thing with like any content creator, for example, you can pay to boost your own videos. So that's not considered like a smear campaign because it's also people are already talking about it. And so it makes me think that Blake is the one, like when she constantly is trying to push this like idea that they were boosting videos, it makes me think that that's what she was doing, because you got to think that the Pro Lively creators, there's maybe like 4 or 5, I think. I mean, I don't know all creators, in the world, but that's just the ones I can think of that are like adamantly talking about this court case all the time. So it's like, okay, are you just trying to admit that you boosted videos? Because at the end of the day, you're also, Ryan is following one of them. Couldn't you consider that media manipulation and strategically manipulating the online conversation? Because then people are like, look, Ryan is following this guy, so this guy must be telling the truth. Like, that's what this whole case is about, of arguing, of does that even have any merit? Like, if that were hypothetically even true, does that actually mean that that's a smear campaign? Now, anyways, she goes on to say that Miss Alexander did not analyze the doctor's data set of more than 1 million people. Oh my God. So this random professor that is literally teaching at a university apparently has enough time to create data sets of more than 1 million pieces of data and offers no opinions on it, and instead offers new opinions based on entirely a distinctive set of data. Yeah, I'm not going to go. If you sent me 1 million page text, I promise you I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that. I'll just reply to what I think. I'll like skim like maybe a sentence and be like, all right, I'll reply to that. All right, so she goes on. All of Miss Alexander's opinions are new ones disguised as rebuttal testimony, which alone warrants their exclusion. That's not really true, because like also if you're having 2 experts weigh on something, which one I would consider more of an expert than the other because these are just random professors, then that's not being like, hey, I'm like arguing you. I'm just saying like, no, actually this is factually correct. I mean, I guess if you want to consider that arguing, sure. With Blake. Now, they concede that her education does not equip her to offer the opinions. Neither does her professional background, comprised primarily of 2 marketing jobs at 2 companies she held for around 4 of the past 10 years. Her lack of specialized knowledge is apparent in her report and deposition testimony. See, I don't know about that one. I don't know that, because like with Blake's, for example, I know she used AI for it. So, okay, so Alexander didn't know virtually anything about the academia on which her opinions proportionally rely, and could not explain why AI detection software was highly confident that more than half of the text in her report was AI generated. Oh my gosh. Okay. I hate AI so much. Okay. AI is not intelligent. You can call it AD. Okay. It is AD. All right. Simple as that. If you've seen videos, there are people that literally will ask AI, how many letter R's are in the word strawberry? And AI will tell you 2. There's 2. Or they'll tell you there's 3, but then when you go to show them like, okay, well, how do you spell it? They will literally like not put another R in, like it misses an R. So it doesn't smell things correctly. It's known to lie and feed you whatever you want it to say. So if it's like, hey, you ask it a question, it's going to respond in the way that it knows that you want it to respond, not in like a truthful, factual way. On top of it, there have been lawyers that have literally gotten in trouble for using AI because it made up court cases that were never real. So yeah, I could see an AI like software completely making up all of this stuff. And just no. Oh my gosh, Blake. You had this is what makes no sense to me. So Blake had a random professor at a random university use AI to be the expert for her case. And she's the expert. No, absolutely not. Anyway, she goes on, Miss Alexander survives the threshold, including inquiry in her background. So, and then, of course, she said they are irrelevant and unhelpful. They're not supposed to be helpful for Blake. Just say that now. Now, she goes on, leaving aside that the members of the jury can compare dates without the help of an expert. Yeah, Blake, they can also read comments without an expert. I think if you just show people like, hey, let's look at a few posts that like the mainstream media posted at the premiere, like the day of the premiere, look at the posts, look at the comments, and look at the dates. And then you can, even if you really want to get, really fancy with it, go ahead and click on the profile. Is it a real person or does it look like a bot account? Majority of them were all real people. Like, obviously there's bots because there's bots on every single platform, but that doesn't mean that, it had to do with them. It could literally also be Blake but doing it, or just a bot in general. Anyways, so they go on to say that whether defendants engage in a coordinated manipulation campaign renders her opinion irrelevant. So she's just like anything. Oh, the ultimate question of the case is whether the manipulation campaign happened. Yeah. If Miss Alexander somehow meets her burden on experience and relevance, then she put out Rule 702 BD necessitates her exclusion. Miss Alexander cannot meet her burden under Rule 702 because she admitted her data set is not representative of online commentary about Miss Lively. Is 96 times smaller than Dr. May. Okay. Again, Blake, this is not proving your point. Okay, so Blake is saying that Justin Baldoni's expert, their data set was 96 times smaller than Blake's expert. Well, no fucking shit. You literally have you have this data set that has 1 million pieces. 1 million. Yeah, it's going to be smaller. I would hope to God it was smaller than 1 million. Oh, Blake. And it's riddled with errors. Yeah, if we went through her document of 1 million, I promise you AI got so much wrong. But it's like, how long do you want this court case to actually go on? Like, you do realize, like, in court, you're going to have to prove that, yes, this is an actual legitimate document and data set. Blake. I just can't deal with her. All you had to do, Blake, all she had to do was just be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I saw your guys' comments after the premiere. I am so sorry that it came across that way. I was just really excited about the movie and seeing everybody, and I just got lost in the craziness of it all. And so I'm just so sorry for how I responded. Boom, done. People would have, eventually people would have moved on and just went about their day. Some people would have still not liked her, but then, they would have just gone on. But her coming out with the New York Times article, her coming out with this lawsuit, that's what did it. That's what brought everything crazy. And then beyond what she's done now. So yeah, she's basically, that's, I just can't, this kills me. If her background isn't enough, but it's like you picked professors from universities and had them put into AI and they're the expert. No. So they go on to say that the data set, oops, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I thought it was, sorry, saw a notification. Sorry, guys. Okay, so they said that she relied on an assistant whom she identified as Taylor Hunter to collect data from Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, X, and YouTube, the 5 platforms. Miss Alexander did not give Miss Hunter any specific instruction on how to approach it, how to run the data, or how to scrape the data. It's like, first you just need to gain it all to be like, okay, what are we looking at here? Like, what's going on before you start categorizing everything? Blake wouldn't know that because she's never cleaned her room. Anyway. She confirmed during her deposition that her data set is not representative of the overall universe that encompasses Blake Lively during the given periods of time. Blake is wanting like every nook and cranny to be like, I need you to touch everything. So the data set reflects the following. Over 6,000 pieces of data from Instagram, 879 pieces from Reddit, virtually all of the 688 pieces of data up from TikTok reflect videos that include either redacted. She's going to act like this is some big thing. It's literally just going to say of content creators or something, all these redactions. I can't take Blake seriously with this. I'm not even going to give her the time of day of, any of this. She's ridiculous. So basically, she's, again, just being like, hey, she's not an expert. They should, her attempt to offer affirmative opinions disguised as rebuttal testimony, that's an issue, is not qualified to offer any opinions. No one is. Yeah, she's just, it's everything. No one's qualified. If you don't agree with her, you're not qualified in any manner. You just don't know what you're talking about. They go on, her opinions are irrelevant and unhelpful. So it seems like it's the exact same thing with the Haggart situation. She's just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm just going to try to bulldoze over everyone that Justin is using. You know what? Worst case, if you need to bring me in to be like, this lady, she created digital violence against me. She harassed me. I will. Just sign me up. Be like, listen, I tried to sanction her, but that man there was in her pocket. I don't know. Judge Lyman would be like, hear he. Shut up. No, he wouldn't tell that to me, right? Okay, so they're, agree with her on everything like that. So yeah, we'll stop here for now, and then we'll go over some of them more later because I'm sure it'll be redundant with Blake. But let me know what you guys think of all of this. Blake, I don't think she's going to win this. I think this is a clear sign that she's about to belly flop so hardcore. But what do you guys think of all of this? As always, this is all alleged, just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I'm so excited, and I will see you later.